Well, thank you so much for taking time to do an interview, guys. We are going to be actually going right into the next game, apparently.
All right.
This has never happened.
No, huh?
No.
We're
I know
just
you're new, but
marathoning?
like,
Yeah. All
usually
right,
you gotta be
well,
like, well, let's dilly
I know
dally.
these guys.
Yeah, we know these guys. Lucky versus MaSa. TVP is on the way. MaSa looks very determined to win this.
Oh yeah, he looks very focused.
Yeah.
You know, I would say.
Look at that, just
Even on
cold
this-
killer
yeah.
gaze.
I don't know what he's watching. I think it's a music video, but I don't
Oh,
know.
you're right. I was looking at his phone, but
Yeah, hey MaSa, what song you listening to, bruh? Nah, but anyways, yeah, I mean, that's MaSa though.
oh my
for
God,
you.
it's DNS from it's BTS
You see-
DNA.
Okay,
There we go.
okay. So you
I was like, this looks really familiar.
you and Miss Magitech, you're like on point with it when it comes to the K-pop. Yeah.
Hells yeah.
So we are gonna be going into the game. It is going to be a TVP.
Yeah,
Right?
I was
Oh,
talking
lucky.
about, yeah.
I
So
mean-
MaSa, one of the probably the more well-known, if you're just tuning in now, you're like, who's this Lucky guy?
Mm-hmm.
Lucky actually did pretty well in a clan war last night.
Mm-hmm.
We were all hanging out, not many of us, but he was there waiting to play at like 10 p.m. or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's able to take out Neuro and, I actually don't remember who the other player was. Jig, I think.
Jig? Oh,
yeah, I
wow,
think.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
against Root. So he's in like somewhat good form. I think he's the type of player that always be like, nah, like I don't do it. And I
He's
don't
like,
know,"
yeah.
and then he actually does okay. And, you're
actually
like, all
plays
right
pretty
then.
well.
Like, yeah.
I've noticed that as well. Like, I mean, I see him at a lot of these Cheeseadelphias and like local events too, but I don't know how much he streams or like how much he like does like dedicated practice. You know, like you don't really see him. Maybe you do see him at like some WCS qualifiers. I don't know if have you seen him show up in there at all, or has it just been kind of like, I play when I want to. Maybe I'll go to a local event, chill out and whatnot.
I really couldn't tell you. I mean, he must have been in the round of 64, round of 32 or something, but I don't
At
think
least.
I would have seen it, or I don't know if I would put the name to the face at the
Right,
time.
yeah.
Like I didn't realize it, but as soon as he said it, it made sense that he took his name from FXO Lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, really?
It's a throwback name, isn't
Hey,
it?
I actually shared a cab with him in Leenock
Really?
back in
Oh, yeah.
IPL days. Yeah, it was
FXO
for,
teammates.
Yep, they were so fun. Oh man, they were like, me and Leenock have had like a special bond after that. But
Course.
Lucky, yeah, not so much because he's been around.
Nah,
You
he
know?
stopped playing not long after
I don't know if he switched games
Part
or
of the
something
Swarm?
either, but yeah,
something like that. But apparently he lives on in this Lucky playing here today.
he does, right? Like there he is, right there. Yeah, he's playing right there in the booth in Cheeseadelphia. So
Yep.
they're doing the map vetoes right now, so we're gonna figure it out. It will be another best of 3, and of course, this is from a different group, guys. So it's not like the winner of this is gonna be playing against Printf or something. So. Oh wait, you can put me in it. I'm not in the group.
Wait,
I'm not
yeah.
in-
Are we
No,
in there?
no.
I don't think we're in there.
Yeah, I was like,
No one invited us. Feels bad.
Unless I
Somehow
missed
MaSa got host. Who put a player as a host, honestly?
oh no, it could be.
Okay, well, we're not casting that, but we can guess.
Yeah,
We can guess what's happening.
I guess so.
Cannon Rush into DT Blink.
Yeah, of course.
into.
Proxy
Fast-forward
double robo.
race.
Proxy double robo.
Okay, yeah, you gotta fit that in somewhere.
You got to,
of
man,
course.
because you have to
Yeah.
cover the ground.
Game resumed.
Well, that doesn't help that it was resumed.
No. Okay, they stopped it. So we're gonna
Cool.
get back into the game. I bet that they actually invited, and I was tabbed out looking at the bracket or something.
It's
like
possible. We don't have sound
So,
for that computer, so it is possible.
That. Yeah.
Way to go, Tempo.
I'm sorry.
There's
know.
one job.
I literally have one job, man.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, our keyboard and mouse are both hooked up to the same computer. So
Oh,
we
really?
could fight over it.
What?
Yeah. I didn't want to admit it because I could just blame you the entire time, but yeah.
God, diggity doobie damn. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel as bad then. I don't feel as bad.
Hot dammity Scooby Doo.
Skibidi pop pop. The thing goes screw. No.
You have a way with words, Tempo.
You know, that some people like to say that. Some people like to, I kind of, built a bit of my character on words, so I think it's only
Bet
fair.
you did.
It's only fair.
Oh, God,
So
okay.
we're gonna be jumping into this game. Sorry guys about that, but it's just for the suspense, You
Yeah.
gotta wait for
This
it.
is the most hype match with the most hype players.
Oh, yeah.
Who's
At the-
Neeb? No one knows.
Come on, son.
Come on.
Got MaSa and Lucky.
Yeah. Heck yeah. It is going to be on Neophyte Square now that we are in
Okay.
the
Now that
map.
we know,
We can see
you know,
it.
okay, that's always good to know.
That is good to know.
So, I mean, when you come into this, we were talking about, of course, MaSa usually being the favorite, but I don't know. Have Terran still been struggling as much against Protoss lately, or
I
have
would
they
say
kind of
so.
figured out? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to talk about, honestly, with the matchup, but then I think a little more importantly is just the current form. There we go. Form of the players.
Whoever
Yeah.
it is,
So
right?
we talked a little about how Lucky is kind of like the guy that's like, oh, I haven't played and I don't do well, and then he actually did fine.
Yeah.
MaSa maybe the same thing because apparently he
'cause
hasn't
Maso,
been.
He'll be like, yeah, I'm
playing.
playing like Hearthstone, or I'm
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
League,
He'll
but
say all these things, and then because he's not pressuring himself,
Then
he'll do
he
beautiful.
performs,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly. So I want to kind of see what that has more to play to it, but we'll talk about the actual matchup after the introductions.
All right.
It is game number 1 officially in the bottom right as the Red Terran. He is MaSa.
And in the top left-hand corner, he is our blue Protoss player. It is Lucky.
He's so lucky.
He's a star.
I don't know the song.
Yo, it was like that Britney Spears song. Come on. It was a movie, wasn't it, too?
what do you,
She did like it.
she
oh
did
my God.
Crossroads, which was pretty bad.
Crossroads was pretty
And
bad.
she was technically in Austin Powers.
I don't understand why. True. A lot of the pop star movies are bad, except for Geely. That was the best movie of all time. But here we are, guys and gals, on Neon Violet Square. I believe this was made by Avex, so shout out to him if he's actually watching. Cool dude, cool dude.
I believe so. And Blackpink.
Uh-huh.
I think, yeah. Very interesting map for the neon violet squares that exist in the middle. So
I
while
just did the Plinko machine.
you just called a Plinko machine?
Yeah, it's a Plinko machine. You ever watched Bryce is Right before?
Is it really called a Plinko? I thought it was
And they
called
put-
something.
dun, 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 they put down the thing.
Pachinko. Pachinko.
Pachinko. Well, it's actually Plinko in the show. Okay, so you've been lied to. You've been lied to. All right, I'm just gonna.
I don't know who to believe.
No, believe me. Come on. I have a way with words. You have to believe me. You
That's
believe
true.
me now, all right?
Okay, I'll believe you this
We'll
time.
do a poll in the chat. Is it Plinko or Pachinko? All right? Because this is kind of important.
Okay, so the Plinko machines
There we go.
in the middle make it so that while it looks to be a straightforward map, it really isn't. It even kind of forces you to play around the map, all the sides of it, because no one really wants to get through there.
No.
Sometimes it favors you, sometimes it doesn't. Like some units can't fit in. Like it's just confusing. But
Yeah, I mean, and especially like, depending, say you get like a bunch of zealots or something like that, and they get stuck in, they all trip on over each other, and since they can't use any range attacks, then they just get picked off by anything that's outside of it. So
yeah.
you kind of have to take that into consideration.
Yep. So talking about the matchup a little bit, PVT, we get to see, actual like Bio versus Blink, assumingly, and Charge.
Right.
I don't know if Lucky's type to go for Colossus. Some Protoss do still favor that, despite, what can technically just be Charge, Blink, and that works out fine. So we would just go back to the Colossus. Not sure if MaSa knows either, but a lot of Terrans, I think. Oh, that's a very quick third base on location.
Yep.
The actual win rate, I believe, of PVT has improved since the most recent patch.
Okay.
The one that changed the weapon upgrade and the Oracle and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's gotten better, but it still is imbalanced, if I recall correctly, if you're looking at the stats. And then I think just on top of that, you're just going to have the innate feeling when you're a Terran player.
Of, like,
and
yeah,
everyone's talking about it, so I think that just
Like,
plays
look at
into it no matter
this
what.
Marine. Like, he can believe all he wants, but he's not going to win that fight versus that Stalker, right? Like,
No. He did a lot of damage,
TVP is
though.
unbalanced.
Lucky almost lost that soccer,
I
and that would have been
know.
really, really bad.
That actually would have been. I was as we were talking about that, I was like, wow, the Stalker might actually die, but oh
It
my
is gonna
god!
die. Oh, whoopsie daisy.
Wow, that's a MaSa Marine right there. So,
Yeah.
like they say, if you're pretty damn good at Terran, you can definitely overcome the matchup. But I don't think it's as grim as people say it is. Like, but I guess if you had two equally matched, like right then and there, and they just played it out, the
I mean,
percentages
that's-
would end up being skewed in that.
Yeah,
direction, but-
that's what the way it's supposed to go, I suppose. We hear what everyone says, but then you have GSL doing favorably for Terrans,
right?
regardless of that, and I mean, there's a lot of things to be said. But it certainly has changed the matchup, that's for sure, from
Definitely.
6 months ago. And I do, even as imbalanced as Stalkers were, I preferred Stalkers over like MaSa Devs, for instance. So I think
Yeah,
it's,
I like
it's,
it. The
it's
playstyle
fun.
itself is just cooler, Like before,
Yeah.
it was just, oh, here comes the shades, and it's gonna finish, and then all of a sudden, it's just everything dies.
Oh, there's a warp prism.
The warp
and
prism
there's
coming
a
in, and
couple of depths. Yeah.
Some Terrans would just GG right after it,
Yeah.
the warp in, but it's a little bit more dynamic, I would say. The new Stalker is actually pretty cool.
I think so. I think it's fun to watch.
Especially and stuff, but,
Yeah, I mean it's also like one of those things where not to delve too deeply into what people think. We're gonna talk about what's actually happening. But you know, the focus is so much on stalkers and upgrades to a degree because Chrono Boost is also something that's a very important nerf.
Yep.
What really sucked, I think, or what really was the mark of a good player, I'll put in a positive spin, was when they had so much detection. They had so much detection around the map, all these observers everywhere, that their stalkers would always be in the right position. And that's what was infuriating, was they had to build on as many immortals, and they work on the Colossus, you know, that type of stuff. So Lucky doesn't have too much map vision right now, and unfortunately he never got to see that it was a third CC all the way back there.
That was a huge deal. The fact that MaSa was able to slip that in. Pretty big deal, but here comes some stalkers trying to break this bunker, but one of them are going to go down.
Yeah.
And no repair on the bunker just yet. It is less than half HP. There it goes.
Not so worth. That almost was, until he just lost stalkers.
Wow, the eagle eye.
Nicely done.
Yep.
The observers also got a stealth nerf, where they were given surveillance mode, but now they make a sound in surveillance mode.
Oh, really?
It's really an obvious sound too, as well. It gives you increased range of vision. It's so obvious.
You know that it's there.
Yeah,
like,
you can actually hear it for sure.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like thinking about like something trying to hide and then just like, I don't know, having its phone on the whole time.
Well, they kept on losing their observers, so they put a little bell on them, you know? Like
we'll never lose the observer. Well, the fact that MaSa was able to get that third base and also defend against that blink attack means that, of course, he is going to be in a really nice economic position. You can start to see the supply really get into MaSa's favor. And he's even going to catch some of the stalkers in the middle of the map, but a blink is going to be able to save him.
All right.
He's probably waiting for these upgrades, and he doesn't have Concussive Shell or Combat Shield either.
And that'll really talk about the power of this 3CC, which Lucky, if he was really, like, thinking hard about it, I think would realize, like, okay, that's just hitting like an entire minute later than like a regular 3-axe or something like that. Knows what's up. And, you know, with MaSa getting the 3 bases basically uncontested, he will have this really solid transfer into Liberators. You know, you got to like kind of pick and choose if you're on 2 bases, saturating your third. Like, can I really afford the range upgrade plus all the Liberators, plus do I have enough medevacs? Well, when you got a 3CC, it's so much more affordable.
You can afford it, yeah.
Yeah, and you can even keep up on upgrades to a little bit better of a degree faster, but there's actually nothing to be done. If the Protoss is going to go for double forge and chrono it, you actually cannot do anything about it.
I know, right?
Except snipe them, I guess.
Whoa. Okay, well, a little bit of some aggression from Lucky. Still using the stalkers as his main source of aggression. And he's always going up the front, too, so that bunker did get taken out. MaSa is going to continue to try to snipe away, but, you know, with the good blink micro coming out of Lucky, he's doing a really good job. Taking the damage, man. MaSa's going to fly right in, but the medevacs aren't targeted the whole damn way. And I don't know, this is actually might be a too late of a warpin, or nah.
Oh, there's another Widow Mine there. Does get a couple of probes. That ended up not being so worth it. Really wouldn't have been worth it if the stalkers were paying attention. But as it is left with 1 medevac, I mean, Lucky has been oddly aggressive, I think, with the stalkers, considering that Stim and medevacs have been out for a while. And while the first attack didn't do so much, and this is now turning into a bit of a bad attack, the supply D was going down. MaSa not paying attention to his medevacs were all very worth a bit of aggression here and there.
Yeah, I think he was doing a good job there. He didn't like lose all of the stalkers during all that, so sometimes you'll end up neglecting the stalkers at the front while you go ahead and try to defend inside of your natural. But it seemed like he kept a good amount of them alive, and MaSa still has that medevac here, and he's just going to try to get as much as he can out of it. 10 probes are going down because there's also something in the main, or that was just the medevac getting out of there.
Yeah. That was nicely done. He just ended up focus firing on the probes, which Lucky probably didn't expect, so it took him a while to pull them away. So a couple extra probes made it a little bit more worth. Liberator range is on the way. I was talking about getting that maybe like more comfortably. It's not that you get it faster necessarily, it's just that I think you get everything together so well, as opposed to really picking and choosing when you get such fast expansions.
Yeah, taking that 4th already. He's trying to get into a planetary, but it's only halfway done. Charge is done here for Lucky, who is on 2-2, I believe. MaSa's only on 1-1 at the moment. Liberator range is not complete yet, and these Colossi are, where are they? They're a little bit late to the party.
Yeah, they're still back at home. He's going to blink to the best of his ability, and with the upgrades that he had, 2-2 had finished for this fight, so +2 versus Armored still for the Stalkers. They took an okay one.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I thought the army coming from behind was something that Lucky was going to go, oh no, I didn't realize I was that big, but it ended up going okay. Some fancy footwork with the Medivacs keeps this Marauder alive.
Yep, he's trying his best, but some Zealots are going to slide on in to that natural base here of MaSa, getting a little bit of damage done. They're actually not focusing down those SCVs anymore, and the Widowmines should be able to make short work of them at the end of it. Oh, he's just going to let it chill.
I guess maybe it was more afraid of those dragging into the SCV.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, and I was just like, come on, just let it happen.
Yeah, right?
Just let it happen, man.
Lucky is making some pretty good maneuvers. Not just a surprising, effective trade right then and there, but also that little maneuver with the Zealots was really a lot more. I mean, 6 SCVs is okay, buying a little bit more time, but really, there's a lot more time. It was a decent number of SCVs for the trade of Zealots.
Yep.
And he still expanded behind this and continued going into 3-3 with Colossus. And now MaSa is like cut on his bio, doesn't have a super high Liberator count despite getting a fairly fast 3rd starport. Yeah. And the Colossus are going to be effective here.
I've been wondering too, like MaSa's only been working off of 1 engineering bay the whole game. So I was like thinking like, is that going to be his 4th starport? Or
3rd, I think.
Yeah, he has 3 out right now, so.
Yeah, you're right about that upgrade. I didn't notice. When I saw the army slap down, I just assumed that a 2nd engineer bay was going to come along with it, and that does seem like a mistake. Just a straight up mistake, like he forgot to get it and then didn't realize he didn't press +2 armor either.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, he would be at 2-2 by now.
There's
not
too
like
many,
he doesn't have the gas for it, right?
Yeah, there's not too many excuses when you get a 3cc that fast plus a 4th that fast. Except that he did lose a couple of trades where he probably didn't think he was. And maybe that was what contributed to it.
I mean, that can even make him forget too, right? Where it's just like, oh, wow, you know, like, I totally forgot to put that down. I'm going to do it, but then he just never does because then Lucky does something else. So the Colossi are here. Lucky trying to hit with 3-3. It's already going to be done here. And he's even starting a transition like into Storm. He's getting a Stargate out in case he needs to deal with the Liberators and Mass.
Yeah. Yeah, the Stalker upgrade still does +2 per upgrade versus Armored, I believe. So they only changed half of its damage, but I think the next change might happen. But anyways, the point is they're going to be very effective against these Liberators, but it's turning into a base trade. Literally a base for base here, and it might turn into a base race if this continues on.
It really could. I mean, remember the recall is an option.
Awkward.
But he only does the Stalkers. He doesn't keep the Colossi there. Or at least he keeps the Colossi here, so it's going to basically be pure Stalker versus, I guess it's not 3-3 bio, but it's about 2-1, I believe.
It's 2-1. It's so...
Is it even 2-2 yet? I think it might be 2-2 at this point.
No, it's 2-1.
Oh,
it's so
goodness.
It's so bad.
Oh, it hurts, but like, maybe that's why he did it, because fully upgraded bios would be pretty good here, especially if you get those Zealots to be in the front, but it looks like he's going to be able to force MaSa back on home. And I mean, I think that's actually good for Lucky. This is a really good spot for him.
I mean, I think he lost less army. The Stalkers really just bullied all those units back.
Yep.
So that's one thing. And while this game will probably continue on, MaSa just takes his 4th. Lucky slaps back down his 4th and has to wait for it. Lucky has Storm and Colossus, and MaSa doesn't have that, like, well, I'm screwed Liberator count. I'm sure he'll try and get there.
He's he's trying to get there and set up in a spot where they can overlap each other, but... Wait.
I think he was checking for Widowmines.
Oh.
That's an odd decision, though. That doesn't mean they're all going to pop off in the one Stalker.
Yeah.
Like, there could actually be 16 and one pops, and you're like, I'm clear.
That's like a patient Stalker. Like, every time you warp in a Stalker, there's like a 1 in 100 chance it's a patient Stalker, and it blinks forward instead. But all of them are going to blink forward, and the Storm is done. Going to go on that front line, and there is so much Protoss on this front line. MaSa trying to move on back. He loses all of the Liberators, and now is just a bunch of hurt bio, and Lucky's going to take game number 1. Holy moly.
Certainly not what you expect if you come in knowing nothing, you know, like that MaSa hasn't necessarily playing as much, that Lucky has had, did pretty well last night.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty small things, because do we know that MaSa hasn't played literally a single game? I don't think we do.
Yeah. No one truly knows, right?
Yeah. Do we know that MaSa's PVT is his absolute worst and he's like a mental? I don't know, but there are outside factors here.
Or maybe his opponent just got lucky. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe so. You never know, man. Actually, I'm going to be honest. Lucky played a really solid game.
He did.
You know, he was on top of his upgrades. He was on top of his expansions. His Stalker aggression was, like, insane. He was all over the place.
Yeah. I think it was It was like a lot of like it looked like raw potential because there were there's a lot of not finesse moments where you're like, well, that just was too many
Clumsy,
stalkers that
yeah.
died, and that was kind of clumsy, and that was he obviously wasn't paying attention there, but there was still that raw power behind it. The mechanics you're talking
The
about, keeping up
mechanics
on
were
his
really on
upgrades,
point, I would say, right?
transferring into Colossus at a pretty okay time, and continuing to keep the aggression up. I mean, his map presence wasn't the best with observers, but it
Right.
was constant with the stalkers.
Stalkers were always on the map, basically.
Yeah.
Seeing that, I mean, yeah, sure, MaSa was only working off of one engineering bay the whole game, so that probably hurt him a bit. But like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the aggression, what MaSa for a lot of the times is going to be multi-pronged aggression, like everywhere, right? We didn't necessarily see that too much, but also with Lucky, he wasn't really doing crazy Warp Prism harass either, right? I think he had like.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't harassment. It was control. That was the name of that game, I think.
Right.
Yeah. It's a very different game when 20 SCVs die and then 20 probes down. It's like this weirdest little contest on two bases. But that was just controlling the map in a macro game, which I think Lucky did better. And I also think that his macro in that game was better too, which you're right about MaSa's trademark being his aggression.
Maybe
but
he felt the pressure from the stalker and he's like, I kind of can't.
It usually is also his good mechanics, you'll see the 2-2 line up perfectly into 3-3 immediately, and you'll see the great timings. And I think he did miss a lot of marks for not having that much aggression. Simply had to build a bunker and then
just
occasionally pitch his army, and then that was kind of it. Yeah, it's a couple depots. It wasn't very much, but it did throw him off.
Well, let's see if we can pick it back up, ladies and gentlemen, as we go to Ascension to Ire. It is going to be game number 2 between MaSa and Lucky, as, of course, Lucky winning game number 1 in a very, I wouldn't say convincing fashion, but a very dominating fashion in the way that he was able to just not be afraid, take advantage of every upgrade timing, and then finally going for the killing blow, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah. We'll see what happens in game number 2. Of course, these guys have another chance in the group as well, I believe. So no one's out yet. In the bottom right, he is down 1. It is the red Terran, MaSa.
The one true marvel. And in the top left-hand corner, he is our blue Protoss player. Give it up for Lucky.
All right. So, really solid play.
Right.
I don't know if either player really wants to go into any cheeses. And I don't know too much about Lucky's play style, considering he won the macro game, just continue doing it. MaSa, I know, has it in him to throw out a proxy rack.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Proxy cyclone. Not this game, not so far.
Doesn't look like it, right? I mean, I guess the last game we did see a bit more greed out of MaSa, so maybe that's why we didn't see him be too aggressive. And it looked pretty promising, right? Like the fact that he was able to get a third command center, not get punished for it, and then start to look like he was about to power up, but something happened along the lines where Lucky was able to match him.
Yeah.
And
He
not take
certainly
damage from drops.
missed that timing of the first 2 medevacs, so the stalkers brought him back. I just didn't think it would impact him so much.
Right,
The 3CC isn't a one base all in where it's like do or die with this push. You come back, you deal with it, and then you continue on, still powering up pretty.
Stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess maybe the fact that it was a third base, like that kind of gimp one, that could have been what it was too, because I mean, it probably mines out faster if you're muling that. I highly doubt that you want to mule that base. You probably are still going to be muling your nat, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely a couple factors that, yeah, it's 3cc, but it's kind of like 2 3/4 cc, right?
Kind of. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't blame the build at all. I think sometimes when I see a TVZ 3cc and it does get kind of rebuffed with the first push, I'm like, oh, that's so much pacing gone.
Yeah.
That's so much momentum gone for the Terran. I don't get the same feeling in PVT.
Okay.
So I feel like 3cc, if you it's when you die in 3cc that you go like, okay, maybe don't do that. Like playing Stalkers actually just killed me right there, so I'm not. But if you get away with it and you lose, I wouldn't be like, well, 3cc, no pressure on the Protoss. That's why I died.
No,
I don't think so. I think there were open opportunities to get an even, an equal strength of a Terran army. Just didn't quite match it.
Yeah, just had a really good game. Both players. I mean, they were even for quite a bit of time. So I'm actually really excited because going into this, I'm always thinking like, oh yeah, MaSa, that's the name that you got to look at. But Lucky, he really impressed me with the mechanics in his play. So let's see how it's going to work out on Ascension to Ire. A little bit of a different style of map. Of course, the third base is going to be more exposed. The one that either of them are going to take, I would say. But you know, I wonder if he's going to go for the same kind of style. Very, very gateway centered. Even the Colossi seemed to be a bit delayed in that last game.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, let's see how he ends up handling this, or is he going to play a bit more of a conservative style?
So I do believe that Twilight Council first just become the even more standard. It's Robo or Twilight and
Yeah, it
not
tends to be,
Stargate
right?
anymore. But Twilight's even pushed out Robo openers too. Robos, I guess, are safer versus like the Cyclones, but Cyclones are dead. They died.
What? The what?
No, there's.
I love.
it
Did you
seems-
see? Oh man, there was like a TY interview thing where they were like, yeah, the Cyclone, they buffed its attack animation.
Oh,
like that's
God.
it. You know, like how
That the
there's a lock
laser-
on and it looks so scary, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but they just buffed the animation so it looks scary, but it's actually really not.
I didn't see that one. That's great.
I was like, oh no, TY.
But no, like the Stalkers are going to have Blink. As I was bringing up the build because it is kind of a known timing that Blink's going to finish around this time. So it's not that MaSa is hoping that Blink won't be done. It's that he's hoping something will distract here. And ideally, it's the Medivacs that can get away.
Okay.
That brings the Stalkers up, and then the Hellions get in no problem. But even if the Stalkers are the natural, the Hellions can run past.
Yeah.
They just don't die fast enough. But this is a twist. It's bringing everything on the front line. No shield battery, and gateway protection really only just kicking in. But I think with some decent micro, it should be enough.
Yeah, but
Oh,
the
no,
probes are
I don't know
gonna
about
come
that.
up,
No,
they're
no,
lighting
no.
up.
No, no, no.
No, what are you doing to the meat grinder, you go? It's not even a meat grinder.
Oh,
it's more of
God.
like a
Okay. You know, when the Marines are gone, the
Campfire.
Hellions really can't pick on the Stalkers. So I don't agree with pulling around the Hellions. I do not. But
Yeah.
barely not catching the Medivac, losing 14 probes. His third Nexus should not be denied. Again, Hellions barely do any damage, but
they can try, but
they saw it.
at least they know. I mean, information is key here, but oh, the Stalkers are going to be able to catch these Hellions. I thought it was going to be the Medivac, but it's going to be all 4 Hellions. Wow.
Okay.
So 14 workers he did lose, but he's still at 35 workers, so it's one of those things where you really don't want to be obviously behind in workers against the Terran, but at least it's not like 22 workers that he has, or he was slacking on his pro production.
This is a pretty instrumental moment. If the Terran player tries to add barracks on before tanks, they just die right there.
Yeah,
But no one really does
yeah,
that
MaSa
anymore.
knows what's up. He's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I've died way too many times to this nonsense, man.
That's for sure. Unfortunately, not able to take out the Liberator when it does this. You just have to wait it out and pay attention. So that's distracting from any attempt Lucky could make to break the natural. It wouldn't happen anyway. So Lucky's okay. Pressing hold position, basically.
Yeah.
Just scouting for when if MaSa pushes out.
Right. So he doesn't have those observers all around the map. I think if a drop could squeeze its way out, he does have that possibility. So, yep. What is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hasn't used the Robo at all, which
I
is
think,
a little weird.
I thought that he was going to go into that observer or even like a warp prism, but perhaps, you know, that distraction with that push and losing all of those workers, it's like, well, now I'm kind of at a different stage of the game than I thought I was going to be at. So it's a little bit of an awkward stage where the third base is being made right in front of you. He does the patient stalker again. But
Yeah, I love that he doesn't mind losing a Stalker. He's like, these are about as same
know
as
what?
Marine.
it is what it is.
Okay, so, okay, finally getting Observer.
Okay.
I was going to say, he's banking a ton of gas. I think that getting at least one is a good idea. Get maybe a little bit more into the main. I know MaSa had some Eagle Eyes last game, but usually, just
You can only be Shia LaBeouf for so long when it comes to the Eagle Eyes, you know?
getting Observers usually gets the better of the Terran eventually to stop scanning for them.
Yep.
But Charge is on the way, and that's a lot more important than I was looking at, because Charge
Oh.
leads to Storm.
He tried.
He
I
tried.
love that micro, though, when you do it. It looks so good.
Yeah. This is kind of dangerous only let one tank out there, but okay, Lucky's going to leave. Lucky has put a lot of Chrono Boost into his Nexus, I'm sure. So maybe his forges weren't as Chrono Boosted as they usually are, but he should still be ahead on upgrade just because there are double forge.
Yeah.
And now he's on his way to Templar Archives, and Storm is really what's going to be the comeback maneuver. Not that I really think he's in a super comeback position, but he's definitely behind.
Yeah, right.
Storms will absolutely help that, or alternatively a surround with charge lots.
If he's able to do that, even getting the warp prism out and getting that warp in behind, but he's not really a big fan of them. I think even like when he does his pushes, usually you'll see that warp prism to reinforce, but it seems like he does a push in order to like go back and expand. So he'll just do damage and then kind of say like, I'm not here to kill you, but I don't know. It's actually really interesting to see because of course he did start his upgrades later, but since MaSa's still working on that single engineering bay, it's kind of a curious thing. I guess maybe, no, he does have second engineering bay, so.
Yeah, he had it
Okay,
on.
I was like wondering if he does it like that with MaSa. I know it's a stylistic choice for anything, but like,
It's weird.
sometimes, yeah.
So Lucky should have known there was going to be a tank push. His observer, I think, missed the initial move out, but eventually he saw it, and then there's a lot of confirmed.
Yep.
When he needs to be, though, is in the right position.
Oh,
a lot of Terrans
this
are
is such a
finding this to be
dirty
very tricky. Oh no, the Immortal though.
Whoa!
Easy
Free
peasy.
tank!
It's free 2 tanks.
He's gonna get another one, and he targets it down. Oh god, MaSa gonna lose a third tank here.
Oh, that was just absolutely terrible positioning. Or luck on Lucky's part. That I feel totally fine making a pun out of. That Immortal
Yeah,
popped at the
I think
exact
he-
right time.
I got rallied over there, and it was like, oh, you know what? I'm pretty good against these things. And he just was able to take out 2 of the tanks.
Yeah, that was supposed to last a lot longer. Not just for the tanks to get good damage with the ramp, but also for combat shields to finish.
Yes.
Now it's MaSa losing a lot of momentum.
That's
Talking
so
about that
much.
earlier.
Like he had such a good army supply lead there, but you know, I mean, well, to be fair, he did scan at first to make sure that he could do it, but Lucky moved out right after that scan. So as soon as the scan wore off, then it was like, all right, you know, he wasn't as safe as he thought he was.
That was really well executed by Lucky, even though perhaps like maybe it could have been even better. Could have been right position initially. Could have sieged the tanks in the middle of the map if he was good with his blink stalkers. Like,
Right.
there's not really much to complain about when you clean it up like he just did.
It just looked too easy. Like, you know, the way that MaSa was setting it up, it almost looked like, yeah, it was supposed to do a lot more, but with these upgrades going to be finishing 3-3 already on the way. We are seeing Ghost Academy coming down.
Yeah, it's a pretty fast.
Oh, wait, they
Ghost
reverted
Academy.
this, huh? So the Mobius reactors?
No, we were just talking about that. So that's going to be the next one, is where you don't need the Mobius anymore. It's back to
Oh,
EMPs
yeah, they
being
did the thing
automatic.
where they was like for 15 minutes or something.
It was
and
for
then
2
like-
hours. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
That's
my
why it's so
God.
confusing.
Yeah.
So this is just kind of like, I think, freebie. Well, the Zealots died, so I can't say freebie. But as long as you're out of the Liberator range, Stalkers can poke with those Marauders. Getting them to stim is still pretty good, because they'll eventually run out of medevac energy.
Yep.
So Lucky's totally in the right to do this, as long as there's not like a Doom Drop somewhere. And again, he doesn't have that much map vision, but we know there's no Doom Drop.
I mean, look at this. Like, when you have both watchtowers and the pressures like that, you got to be doing something right here. So, MaSa, though, 2-2. Oh, no, 2-1 is here. 2-2 is not even that close at all.
No.
But there is a War Prism for that reinforcement, and here it comes. MaSa going to try to go ahead and snipe those Immortals, because, yeah, we didn't see things pretty dirty last time.
Now the Immortals have all mostly lost their Hardened Shield, and that's such a Marauder-heavy army. Imagine if there's like 5 Immortals in there.
Imagine,
That'd just be
right?
wrecked. But Stalkers have turned into a little bit of mini Immortals,
Yeah, I would
especially
say
if
so.
they get that +3 attack.
Exactly, and that's going to be on the way. It's actually about 3/4 of the way done. Ghosts are coming out now, so this is going to be catching Lucky by surprise, I would assume. I don't think he even knows anything about the Ghost Academy yet. He hasn't really got like
boy.
any scouting into the main of MaSa at all, so he's kind of playing his own game, seeing the composition that MaSa has, but little does he know that it is going to be Ghosts, and they do pretty damn good against these Archons. Even if they were still Templar, they would be great. Widow Mines plus that too, so...
Yeah, the Ghosts are pretty much countering what Lucky has done. I thought there was a chance Lucky was going to go into Colossus when he was containing like that, because he did it, last game.
Sloppy!
Up, couple freebies there, nicely done.
He gets an EMP on there.
But just because they have EMPs doesn't mean your army is ineffective. You just have to micro and split. But I don't think there's any High Templar even available to do that.
Nope. And the Archons are in the back. They can't even get into the fight. And how many charge blocks were that? That was not even that many. Everything's getting stuck behind the Stalkers right now.
There we
And
go.
the Widow Mines kind of go off on a few of
But-
the targets, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah, the Stalkers still end up taking on that army. There wasn't enough of a bio army, with the Liberators getting shot down initially too.
Yeah, that as well.
That even though that should have been a very awkward fight for Lucky, it ended up being okay.
It is, yeah. And the more EMPs going down.
EMPs, they do nothing.
Well, you know, it's 3-3 Stalkers at the time. Uh-oh. MaSa getting pushed back. He's falling down in supply rapidly. Ghosts don't really do anything else. And there we're... Whoa, we hadn't seen this that much from Lucky before, and just getting those Zealots inside of the main is going to force MaSa to have to at least pay attention in 2 spots at once, but I mean, does he even have enough on
many
his front?
SCPs that are dying.
Oh.
Entire mineral lines are going down, and he's losing the fight on the front lines. Production is now going down. He was all in on the defense, wasn't even trying to save his main base. And I think this is going to be a 2-0 for the lesser-known player, that's
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
But Lucky's certainly known now.
Lucky, gonna be taking this, and most likely, I would say, the army value 65 to 46 now. If you get some godlike EMPs somehow, some way, and you know, he slash dances everything else, then maybe, right? But I mean, the fact that he lost so many SCVs, really perfectly timed aggression there, because maybe MaSa was getting so used to not having there not be that much multi-pronged aggression that he was like, all right, all I got to do is defend on the front, and I'm going to be all right. But
Uh-oh, there's no SCVs to
slick
repair that.
workism.
There's no SCVs to repair that. Lucky's gonna grab it. It doesn't even get a shot off. Stupid
It popped
head.
his head out, yeah.
Yeah.
And it just popped back down. It was like a sock and bop robot. That's when you know it's dead.
That was pretty important because as hype as we were getting for Lucky's victory there, MaSa did have 5 bases up until that
This is
point.
true.
He had barely saved that 3rd CC,
Oh my
and 2
God.
of them were planetaries too, so they would have been fairly safe to just produce 5 SCVs at a time.
Did you
But
speak too soon, though?
I still don't think so. We did get pretty hype with the
At least
charge
did I,
lot.
'cause I think I kind of was going
Well,
crazy.
yeah. But I mean, I say I don't think so because I still think Lucky wins. But right, this game isn't over yet.
Okay.
It is still very difficult for MaSa. And now we have Colossus on the way, something that he can't deal with without
Oh, he
Liberators.
doesn't have any Liberators or Vikings.
Or
here.
Vikings, yeah, exactly.
And he's going to try to defend this orbital command as well as the double production ghost here.
I think you just kill the barracks and leave.
I
Barracks
mean,
are-
anything, right? Like, just...
yeah.
There's nothing.
well.
MaSa's not gonna go out there and say, "Yeah, man, you killed my barracks, man. And now you're gonna kill something that you hold dear."
You know, despite Lucky getting storms, he's
Yeah.
never bothered
He didn't
getting
really
High
use it.
Templar.
I mean, he's been morphing them all into Archons. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think forcing the win here could be the way
Like,
that
imagine
he
if
loses.
these were High Templar. I mean,
Yeah, right?
Did you see what happened to those Archons? It just like blew up.
Just disappeared.
Yep.
Forcing the victory is the way that Lucky could potentially throw this game. Now he doesn't have that choke he's actually been pushing forward through, but he still has a lot of bio that, while they're not being healed, are still enough. Oh, another stim though. Oh my gosh, there's so many of these going to be one shot.
Yeah.
But Lucky is forced to retreat. And like I said, I don't think pushing for that victory right then and there was the right call. Perhaps if he had a couple of those storms, or perhaps if he had a Colossus or 2 when the choke was there, but still killed 16
Yeah.
SCVs.
I mean, yeah.
again.
Every time he does one of these pushes, he's always killing SCVs. He's killing a base. Did he even get any of those barracks that we were talking about? He did.
yeah.
So he at least got them out, and he's also expanding behind it too. So he's not just going all in and saying this is the push to win the game and then forgetting about his macro. He has 3/3 upgrades. He doesn't even know where to go from here. You know, not bothering with the shield. But he is starting to add High Templar. I think that he's going to be keeping as High Templar, but
You know, do we have... So we're talking a lot about upgrades, but we've been missing one important one for a long time. in
what
both
upgrade
games.
is that?
+2 ship weapons.
Oh.
Yeah, that will 2-shot stalkers, and that will drastically change how Protoss visualize the engagement. They'll be like 16 stalkers, that's enough, and really
Right.
needed a lot more. I think the only way you negate that is if you do invest in plasma shields.
So you would need to get the plasma.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that is usually even a more preferential upgrade than like +3 armor is.
Okay.
So a bit of a mistake, I would say, on MaSa's part, not to get that at all.
I know, right? Thank God.
Yeah, but he is trying to remax. He realizes he's still in the danger zone here. Like, he is the one that might still lose.
Yeah, right? Like, he's done some really good plays to stay in the game, but Lucky has been doing some, really good plays in order to keep himself ahead. So if he hadn't taken another base, or if he overextended and lost his whole army and gave MaSa that opportunity, then sure. But Lucky's been, kept a pretty healthy supply lead, I would say, for the majority of the game. Even though he throws away a decent amount of his gateway units, he's starting to get these really important units like the Colossi, the High Templar. The Archons really haven't done that much, but at least, oh God, the ghosts are just brutal with this.
They've soaked EMPs.
Yeah,
That's what they've done.
That's what they do. They soak EMPs. They
Now the ground,
hold it down.
the ground weapons are evened up here, and
Oh.
the Colossus way too far forward. One of them gets sniped.
Oh my God! Well, yeah, Colossus. The other one is actually very, very low. And even the third one doesn't have any shield. So
A little bit
MaSa,
scary.
yeah, he's doing really good with his army now, and he's even getting cloak. I don't even know if there is an observer out on the map. There is one,
Yeah, but that's...
but it's in surveillance mode, and like, does anything even happen over here in this whole game?
I don't think so. Not with
Because
MaSa.
that observer's there. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Told him what's up. MaSa hasn't had many opportunities to be on the other side of the map since like
Absolutely.
minute 7 or something. So, yeah. Lucky should have the superior composition still. There's barely any Liberators. The Ghost shouldn't overpower what is Colossus not dying unless they walk too far forward. But he does have to be careful. He's in a very It's like deja vu here, but here are the Colossus that are going to make, I think, the big difference.
Yep. I mean, the reason why this army is so small is because there is a double drop from MaSa on the north side of the map, but I mean, it's not hitting just yet. The storms are... See, that's the first storm he did, and look at how beautiful it was.
Yeah, the Vikings were actually really soaked in it.
Yep.
Now they were very quickly dispatched with the Stalkers. The drop does enter the main, but as a third CC and 20 more SCVs die.
I mean, yeah, the supply not looking so good here for our Canadian Terran player, as he's going to try to get some damage done, maybe even forcing Lucky home, but it just seems like Lucky wants to go for the throat now. He takes out 2 bases, is able to keep the army at bay with the storm, and God, the army control is so good here for Lucky.
Yeah.
Just really patient play. He's not rushing into it. And nobody zealous and he just warped in. Are you kidding me? I don't know how many gateways he has. He has like 12 warp gates right now.
There you go.
And the economy to support it as well.
MaSa's finally on his way to that +2 that I was talking about, but you know what? He's never had very many Liberators, so I don't know if it really matters.
He's like, you know what would be really cool if my Liberators could 2-shot these Stalkers, but...
Yeah, it helps Vikings, of course, but not as cool.
Yeah.
So the Observer was there, and MaSa even specifically scanned for it, but then it ran into a missile turret. So the Cloaked Ghosts are still a little scary.
Yep. I mean, they don't do like that much damage except for like against Zealot if you want to be like really technical, but the fact that they're there, they can really allow you to chip away at the army. Oh man, rip.
Yeah, I mean, he has 8 medevacs. It's not so bad. 6 Vikings, but he really needs something more powerful. Oh god,
Whoa!
the storms!
Oh my god. I mean,
who put Side Templars there?
You know, like literally, that's what MaSa's thinking. He's like, who the hell does that? Like, what?
GG.
Wow.
It took like 5 minutes longer, but ultimately we were correct.
Yeah, we got to the same conclusion. We don't get to look bad, you know?
Yeah.
But the reason why I said that is because I've seen MaSa do that in like a tournament. I think it was even last year's Adelphia where we're like, he's got to be dead, right? And I think it was against True, and he just brought it back. And we're like, this is insane.
I think I cast a similar game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was just like, well, this is obviously just going to win.
Is it? Yeah. And he's just like, you know, in full MaSa fashion. You know, Terrans never die, right? Like when they go into this zone where they're like, you know what? I'm going to micro every last unit I have.
Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
That's what I call it.
Super Saiyan mode. I think it's like pretty high up there.